I just want to thank everyone that wished me well when I announced that I have the flu, COVID like symptoms. I want to thank everybody. And even if you didn't write a comment, that's fine as well. You know, not everyone has to write a comment. You can wish me well in spirit, or you can wish me not well. I'm going to make two parts of this podcast because I realize that there's too much that I have to say, and I'm not going to be able to get it done in one. And I want to get onto Tinksy and my support for Tinksy. Not everyone on my channel will know who Tinksy is, but I'll explain later. The latter part of this podcast is a podcast about a former associate of mine called Bam, who wasn't a very nice person. And I'll speak on that later, but that's pre recorded. I realized that I had to update the initial part of this podcast because so many things have happened since I pre recorded that podcast. The other thing I want to say is that I am not on the way to recovery as I'd hoped. Um, I'm still not feeling well. Had a bad night last night. So I'm not recovering as fast as I want to. And I also want to say I've been watching Netflix. I've been watching the Lyle and Eric Menendez series on Netflix. And in the second part of this podcast, I want to tell you why I think they need to stay where they are. A lot of people will disagree with me. Yes, I do believe that there were things going on in that home that were untoward. However, that doesn't make it okay for them to do what they did and take the steps that they did. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. This is a very informal channel. I'm not here to preach to you. Everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. I also want to briefly talk about the Harris Trump debate. I know a lot of people are saying that Harris won. The media obviously prefer Harris to Trump. I don't believe that there was a clear winner. She really didn't explain what she plans to do. And I think Donald Trump had one good line, which is, "Why haven't you done it already?" But he allowed her to get under his skin, and he just went off on rants, on tangents, and really made him look like a fool. She was basically standing there laughing at him. So I think on that point she won. The fact that she was able to make him go off on tangents, not get to the point, and make him look like a babbling fool, really. Um, but I don't necessarily think there was a clear winner. But I think she was more presidential, more prepared, and her presentation was a lot better. So it might seem that she won, but you know, I do still think that Kamala Harris is the underdog. Trump has his uh, cult followers that have been following him for a very long time. She's a newbie. However, I don't think it's impossible for her to win. I think if she can connect to young people like Barack Obama did, um, and she has a lot of celebrity endorsements as well, like Taylor Swift, who's huge, and Beyonce, Jay-Z. But although that won't matter at the end of the day, because Hillary Clinton had celebrity endorsements, and that didn't help her at all. It's going to be tough for Kamala. However, I do think that she has a lot of money backing her. She has a lot of the media backing her, and she can connect with young people. If she can do that and use social media well, then she might be able to overcome him. The other thing I want to talk about is continuing on from my last podcast where I was telling you that I had somebody who had been a sub of mine has been pursuing me for several years, and I didn't realize that he was attached and fixated with me in the way he was until I stopped responding to his comments. Um, I did show you a lot of the comments that he was sending me that were like, he was telling me how much he loved me, how much I meant to him, that I meant the world to him and everything to him. And I tried to start distancing myself from him because of those comments. He was also coming into my channel as an alt, pretending to be a relative of his, saying things like, and I'm going to refer to him as X. We know you love X very much. He loves you very much. And it seems to me that he was trying to create a scenario that we are in love and in some kind have some kind of relationship, which we don't. he was trying to create that kind of scenario in his own mind, and I think he mistook my responses to him as something more. And I think because he is a fantasist and because he's obsessed, he really began to escalate, and he began to escalate even more so when he saw that I was no longer paying attention, that much attention to a certain somebody. He used that as an opportunity to go in full pursuit. And I'm just showing you some of the comments that he started leaving on my channel. I did say that he left me about 25 to 30 comments within a 30-hour period when I stopped responding to his comments. And that's how I found him out. That's how he got found out. That's when I realized that he was too attached to me and had more of a fixation on me than I originally realized. So here he's talking about his confusion, telling me how much he really wanted me. I'm so confused. He's confused because I'm no longer responding to him. Never in a million years did I think this would happen. I really wanted you. And he's trying to get my sympathy here by saying he lost a friend and he didn't want it to happen again. And, telling somebody you love them very much, that they mean everything to you, and all of the things that he says to me, that's not something that you say to somebody that's a creator or a casual friend. That's something that you say to somebody that you're going to get engaged to, or you're going to get married to, or you're about to embark on a very serious relationship with. And I just began to get very uncomfortable with his comments. And it's really when I stopped responding to him that I realized that this was serious, and that he was more attached to me than what I had originally thought. I thought it was just a harmless crush. No, this is much more than that. This is like maybe the 12th or 13th comment that he left me during the time that I stopped responding to him. He says, "Hello, Simcast. I hope you're well. I can't comment on my original channel anymore." He can comment on his original channel. What he's basically trying to allude to there is that I'm no longer responding to his comments. So that's why he's worded it that way. But he could comment. I was getting his comments. I just was not responded. Um, I was not responding. He feels every time he comments on my channel, he feels entitled to a response. He's still sending me comments, um, even though I've asked him several times to just move on from my channel, he's still sending me comments. So that's how I know that this person is obsessed. Um, he talks about his confusion again. Is there something I have done wrong? I'm so confused. Anyway, won't keep on trying if you don't want me around. Well, that was just something that he said. He never meant it, because he does keep on trying and he's still trying to contact me now. He's trying to find ways where he can stay connected to me, which I don't want to. I don't want any connection with him whatsoever. Um, and he says in the last line of this comment, he says, "Have I lost you? I don't get it." You can't lose someone that you were never with to begin with. So I'm still being pursued by this person. He's finding any excuse that he can to contact me, and when he doesn't get the response that he wants, he will delete his comment, or he will simply, basically he'll just delete his comment if I don't answer or I don't respond. But I'm really I've had enough now. I'm just going to delete every single comment that he makes from now on, or I'm just not going to respond. But I just wanted to update you on my health and what's been going on with this situation. Tinksy, I'll get to you in a minute. It's funny because one of my subs a few months ago said to me, why didn't Bam make a comeback after she was taken down? Why was there no comeback? And my answer to that is, I will tell you later in this podcast. But first of all, I just want to say this because I've made videos talking about you, Tinksy, briefly and not very often, but I had to say something this time. Um, by the way, Tinksy and I have very, very different views on a lot of things when it comes to the crowd justice, Claire Morgan, donations, Frankie Rusek, and that's absolutely fine. She supports the Rusex. She supports donating to Frankie and the fund, and that's her choice. I don't hold that against her. She's never been unkind to me, and we're not best friends. I'm not a best friend of Tinksy's. I'm not a Rusex supporter. I'm not in that group. Try and stay out of being on either side. I'm just in the middle. I have my opinion, not completely one side or the other. But what I can say, Tinksy, is that I highly, highly, even though you should not have responded, you should not have responded. That's what I think. You should not have. I highly, highly applaud you for being honest and setting the record straight. And my favorite line from your community post, and guess what? I'm not Tinksy's favorite person, like I just said. I think Sarah Bellum is her favorite person. But one of the things I loved about what you wrote, Tinksy, is this line. I love this line. You recognize what she was and you hid behind her, and that's Bam. She hid behind Bam. She proved valuable to you then until you found out that you weren't as cherished by her as you thought. You hit the nail on the head with that line. And I'm not even referring to anyone specific, but I will say that's exactly what happened. When some of these people realized that Bam didn't cherish them as much as they thought, that's when they came out and said, "We're leaving her channel." Only, only when they realized that she didn't like them is when they decided or claimed to leave her channel. Not because of her behavior. And I'll talk more about that later. Now, I'm not interested in this East Coast, West Coast beef at all. I'm not in it, not interested. I've dipped my foot in it once in a blue moon. I haven't dipped my foot in it for a while. But I just love what you said so much that I decided to make a video about it. What I love is this premise that they don't support people who don't tell the truth and they don't watch people they don't like. So you're telling me that they believed when Bam said that her father managed Duran Duran and Michael Jackson? They believed that, right? They believed that she was offered a contract by Hugh Hefner twice, two contracts to pose, apparently. They believed that, did they? They believed that she was honest. Let's see here. They believed that she was a model and she dated rock stars. Yeah, sure. Oh, they must have believed that Emma Kenny wanted to take Bam's content because Emma Kenny obviously didn't have enough content on her own with over 200,000 subscribers. But the premise is we are supposed to believe that they thought that she was honest right up until the end. They didn't know that she didn't have a background in medical sciences. They believed that she had all the qualifications she claimed to have. Mm, yeah, right. They didn't know that she was dishonest until the end, right? I love that. I love that. That's the premise. That's the narrative. That's the narrative that they thought she was an honest person. They didn't realize that she was dishonest until the very end. Yeah, right. What they realized at the end is that she didn't like them and that they were used. And that is the chip on their shoulder. That's what they can't stand. And I don't want to put them all in one category because, to be honest with you, um, Bedtime Clown, as far as I know, he's been to my channel a few times when I've made videos on Bamza in the past. And I don't think he likes me at all because I'm very outspoken. But he's been decent towards me. Never had a problem with him. And if I'm being honest, Darzen as well, who I don't speak to anymore, but that's fine. I'm not interested in being, I don't have to be their friend. Darzen, I remember when, um, I remember when he came to my channel once and showed support for me. And I think this is after I left Bam's channel. So I don't think he likes me at all now because I'm just so blatant and so blunt and probably a little bit sarcastic as well. But those two I don't definitely don't have a problem with. But but anyway, I think I'm going to get on to my next point. But what I wanted to say, Tinksy, is that you are right. You are right. Your words were twisted to try and get at you, and you got her back. You got them. You got it back. You got it back, and you did it right. However, you should never have responded. Just ignore and grey rock. That's what you should have done. But if you were going to respond, that was the right response. So one of my subs was, discussing with me that, they were surprised that Bam never made a comeback after she was taken down. And I think there's a very, very solid reason that she didn't. Um, she used people and she used her subs. They were supply sources for her, and they know that they were used now. Um, she had nothing to come back to because she had been exposed for what she really was. And I think that because of that shame, she didn't make a comeback. There was no point in her coming back to rant at everybody that was in her channel. Um, there was no point. She had nothing to gain. Bam only operated, and this is what you figured when you got to know her. Bam only operated on what she could get out of you, and what she could gain, and what she could use you for. And when she was taken down, it was game over. She had nothing to gain from her supply sources because they saw her for what they realized what she was about in the end. They realized she didn't really like them. They were just there to, to supply her, to, post her PayPal link in her channel, to go and back for her on other channels, or to use them for, roof donations. I mean, they were really used, and that's the chip on the shoulder that they live with. And that's why they don't want anyone else talking about it. That, if I talk about, I'm not allowed to talk about her because they don't like what I've got to say because I say the truth. So they want to keep me silent. Um, whatever, whatever. I'm going to tell the truth, and the truth is, she never had anything to gain by coming back and ranting and raving about the people who had claimed to leave her channel at the very end, because she had nothing more to gain from them or to use them for. It was done. And no, Amber did not make any Facebook posts of Bam's GS. No one has said anything. And if anything, anyone who has spoken about Bam's GS has made very sweet comments about the little fella. Bam sent me pictures of him. He was a very sweet little boy. So all this nonsense about, oh, he was picked on and blah, 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 is just nonsense. I want to get onto the subject of Ali, and I could go deeper into this. Ali came to my channel. I remember the time that Ali came to my channel before Bam was taken down was after Bam had made a post, which I print screened. And Ali, Ali was always a bit, put it this way, I really appreciate what Ali told me. Look, I don't know Ali personally, so I don't know if everything that she says is true. I can't possibly confirm that. I don't know the woman. And some of her tales were very tall. However, if we're going to say Ali is a dishonest person, well, so was Bam. So, don't sit there saying, oh, Ali doesn't tell the truth, when you supported someone like Bam who rarely told the truth. And one thing that Ali did tell me that I believed, I might not have believed everything that she told me, but one thing that one thing that Ali did tell me that Bam was like, that Bam did, or that Bam thought of herself, she was really just disinterested in other people. Um, Bam was interested in her false fantasy self. That's what Ali told me. She was really disinterested in others. She really didn't care about other people the way she claimed or made out that she did. I think that was her false charm. And yes, I think Bam had a very false fantasy image of herself, and that was reason why she would surround herself with certain people with a herd mentality, because she only like to surround herself with people who put her on a pedestal. You know, Darzen was making posts about her being the queen of the group, and all that kind of stuff. And that's what she liked. That's what she wanted. That's how she, you know, she had to be. If she was in a group where she was not the leader, seen as the leader, or seen as the one that was most special, she wouldn't have wanted to be in that group. So anyway, during this particular time before Bam was taken down and she was going at various people, including me, Ali came to my channel and told me a lot of things. And she, you know, this is when I found out that Bam didn't really like people in her channel. And it didn't surprise me. So whether Ali is completely truthful or not, I cannot say for sure. But what I can say is that there is some truth to that, because she did it with me as well. Bam did it with me. She would chat people behind their backs with me. So I know that she had that two-faced nature about her. So even though I can't say that everything that Ali said about Bam is true, I can certainly corroborate some of what Ali told me. Not long after, as a matter of fact, I'm looking at a comment that Ali wrote me, and it's a long, long, long comment, and I should have responded. I just didn't get around to it. This was when Bam was actually still on YouTube. Not long after this, that that Bam Bam's World channel went up, and I always thought that Ali was behind that channel. And I don't care if she is or isn't. It doesn't change my feeling of her. It doesn't change my feeling about her whatsoever. Because I think that that channel really shows you what Bam really is and really was. So I like that channel and I support it. And I actually wouldn't mind if more videos were posted on that channel. I think that channel should get more attention. Um, but yeah, so Ali might not be completely truthful. She may even be a fantasist. But the person that some of you held in such high esteem, Bam, was she honest? I don't think so.